The desert sun was sinking low over the red rock cliffs of Arizona, painting the canyon walls in molten hues of gold and rust. The air carried the dry scent of sagebrush and dust, and somewhere in the distance, the faint cry of an eagle cut through the silence. In the heart of the Apache territory, a small group of riders galloped toward the village, their horses kicking up clouds of sand as they dragged behind them a man bound in ropes. His shirt was torn, his face bruised, and his blue eyes stared into the horizon, half dazed, half defiant. His name was Daniel Reed, a former soldier who had left the army after seeing too much blood, too much hate. He had come west not for war but for peace, to live quietly and map the untouched lands for a government survey. But fate has a way of leading even gentle men into storms. Daniel had wandered too close to Apache hunting grounds. When they found him, they saw not a mapmaker but a spy, another invader come to mark their land for the white man's taking. The warriors bound him, shouting in their tongue, and one struck him across the face with the butt of a spear. Daniel didn't fight back, his hands were tied, but even if they weren't, what could one man do against a dozen who had lost sons to his uniform? He could only pray they would hear him, that someone might look into his eyes and see the truth he carried. The Apache village was quiet as they brought him in. Fires burned low, children peeked from behind their mothers' skirts. Old men leaned on staffs, muttering prayers to the spirits. Daniel was thrown to the ground before the council circle. The chief, a broad-shouldered man with streaks of gray through his black hair, rose slowly. His name was 10 Bears, known for wisdom but also for the scars of battles long remembered. His voice, deep and rough, carried like thunder. You come to steal again. You mark our rivers. You send more men after. You bring death. Daniel tried to speak, his cracked lips trembling. I'm not a soldier anymore. I came alone. I didn't mean to cross your land. 10 Bears motioned, and one of the warriors, a tall, hawk-eyed young man named Koda, struck Daniel's back with a staff. Lies, Koda hissed. Always lies. His people burn our villages. But before Daniel could reply, a soft voice cut through the murmurs. Stop. The crowd turned. From behind the circle of elders stepped a young woman, her hair braided with turquoise beads that shimmered like trapped sky. Her eyes were deep, calm, and filled with something Daniel could not name, compassion, perhaps, or courage born of sorrow. Her name was Naya, daughter of 10 Bears. She looked at Daniel, then at the men holding him. He's wounded. The spirits teach us mercy, not cruelty. Koda frowned. Mercy is for brothers, not enemies. Naya walked closer, her bare feet silent on the earth. And what are we, Koda, if we forget mercy? Are we better than those we hate? Her words struck him like arrows of truth. He looked away, jaw tight. 10 Bears sighed. Daughter, this man's kind has taken much from us. I know, she said softly. But this one is alone. Look at him, does he look like a soldier? The chief studied Daniel again. His torn map case lay near the fire, its papers fluttering in the wind. He picked it up, flipped through the sketches of rivers and hills, and saw notes, no military plans, just the markings of a traveler. He said nothing but motioned for the warriors to tie Daniel to a post near the canyon wall until sunrise. At dawn, 10 Bears said, we will decide. Night fell like a slow blanket. The stars emerged, bright and ancient. Daniel sat bound, his back against the post, his thoughts drifting to home, the fields of Missouri, the mother who still waited for his letters, the dreams he once had of peace. He heard footsteps. Naya appeared, carrying a clay bowl of water. You shouldn't be here, Daniel whispered. I brought you this, she said, holding the bowl to his lips. The water tasted of clay and life. Why are you helping me? She hesitated. My brother died 2 winters ago. He fought men wearing your colors. He was brave, but before he died, he told me something, that hatred only makes the spirits weep. I don't want to weep anymore. Daniel's eyes softened. I'm sorry for your loss. I know you are. She looked at him, really looked, and saw not the enemy her tribe feared but a weary soul lost between worlds. I don't believe you came to harm us, she said. Then help me. Her heart pounded. If I free you, they'll kill me too. I don't ask that, he said quietly. Just tell your father I meant no harm. That's all. But when dawn came, the tribe gathered again. The sun broke over the cliffs, painting the canyon in gold. Daniel was dragged to the center. The decision was swift. He crossed our border, 10 Bears declared. He will hang. The crowd murmured approval. Daniel closed his eyes. He had known this was coming. He only prayed that his death might not stir more hate. 2 warriors lifted him, tying the rope around his neck. The wind howled through the canyon like a mourning spirit. And then it happened. A cry, sharp, raw, tearing the morning in two. No, don't kill him. All heads turned. Naya ran forward, her braid flying, her eyes blazing. She pushed past the warriors, standing between Daniel and the hanging rope. Don't kill him, she screamed again. He's my husband. The words froze the air. Gasps rippled through the tribe. 10 bears rose, stunned. What did you say? She faced him, trembling but unbroken. He's my husband. The spirits bound us before I even met him. If you kill him, you kill part of me. Coda spat in the dust. You lie to save him. I speak truth from my heart, she said, her voice shaking. Look at him, father. His eyes hold no hate. The Great Spirit teaches that all souls are one. If you hang him, the sun will hide from our people. The chief's face darkened. You shame your blood. No, she whispered. I honor it. The silence that followed felt endless. Even the wind paused, as if the desert itself held its breath. Daniel, bound and dazed, stared at her in disbelief. He wanted to protest, to say she didn't need to do this, but her eyes silenced him. They told him this was not just mercy, it was destiny. 10 bears turned away, pacing. His heart warred within him. His people demanded justice, but his daughter's courage stirred something long buried, memories of his own youth, of a woman from another tribe he had once loved and lost to hatred. He looked at Daniel again, saw not a soldier but a reflection of his younger self, a man trapped between love and war. Finally, he raised his hand. Release him, he said. The warriors hesitated. But chief, release him. They cut the ropes. Daniel stumbled to the ground, coughing, his neck raw. Naya knelt beside him, tears shining in her eyes. 10 bears turned to her. He will live, but he must leave before the sun reaches the peak. If he returns, I will not protect him again. She nodded. Thank you, father. The tribe dispersed slowly, whispering, unsure whether to curse or admire her. Coda glared, anger burning in his chest, but even he could not deny the power of what he'd witnessed. As the sun climbed, Naya helped Daniel to the edge of the canyon where his horse waited. He looked at her, voice hoarse. Why did you do that? Because someone had to break the circle, she said softly. Our people keep killing each other for ghosts of the past. Maybe saving you is how the healing begins. He took her hands. You risked your life. I risked my silence, she said. Life without courage isn't living. He wanted to say more, but words felt too small. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a silver locket, his mother's, the only thing he had left from home. Take this, he said. So you'll remember that kindness still lives, even across worlds. She shook her head. You keep it. One day, you'll show it to someone and tell them how a foolish Apache girl saved your life. He smiled, though tears blurred his vision. You're not foolish. She touched his face gently. Go, before they change their minds. He mounted his horse, turned once more to look at her standing in the sunlight, wind dancing in her hair. Then he rode away, the canyon swallowing the sound of hooves. For weeks, Daniel wandered aimlessly, haunted by her voice echoing through the cliffs. He's my husband, don't kill him. He could still see her eyes, fierce and tender. He reached the nearest outpost, told no one what had happened, only that he'd been spared by a miracle. Yet the experience changed him. He sent word to Washington that the Apache lands were sacred and unfit for mapping, claiming the terrain was too perilous for survey. Then he resigned from the survey altogether. He bought a small cabin near the edge of the desert, close enough to see the red cliffs when the sun rose. Months passed. One evening, as he sat outside watching the dying light, he heard footsteps. A figure appeared from the shadows, a woman wrapped in a woven shawl. His heart stopped. Naya, he breathed. She smiled faintly. I followed the river. The tribe thinks I'm gone to visit relatives. He rose, unsure whether to speak or simply hold her. Why did you come? I wanted to see the world you live in, she said softly. To know if there's a place where two souls like ours can belong. He laughed, though his voice trembled. If there isn't, we'll make one. For the first time in years, he felt peace. That night they sat by the fire, sharing stories, of rivers, spirits, and dreams. She told him about her people's songs, how they believed each heart carried a rhythm that could call the rain. He listened as if hearing music for the first time. Days turned into weeks. They built a small life together, simple, quiet, hidden from both worlds. But love, like wind, cannot be contained forever. One morning, smoke rose from the canyon. The tribe had discovered her absence. 10 Bears himself led the riders to the cabin. When they arrived, Daniel stepped outside unarmed. "I won't fight you," he said. Naya ran to her father, tears streaming. "Please, father, listen." 10 Bears looked at them both, his expression unreadable. Behind him, the warriors waited for his command. But the chief dismounted slowly and looked at his daughter's face, glowing with love. "You left your people," he said. "I didn't leave," she whispered. "I carried them with me." He looked at Daniel. "Have you hurt her?" "Never," Daniel said firmly. "She saved me. I owe her my life." 10 Bears studied them in silence. Around him, the desert wind whispered through the sage. Finally, he said, "Perhaps the spirits truly sent you. Maybe this is how peace begins." He turned to his warriors. "No blood today. Go home." They obeyed. Naya wept, embracing her father. "Thank you." He placed his hand on her head. "Live well, daughter, but remember who you are." Then he rode away, leaving only the echo of hoofbeats and the promise of a new dawn. Years later, travelers who passed through that land spoke of a small home nestled near the canyon, where a man and an Apache woman lived together in harmony. They said he taught the children of nearby settlements to read and write, while she taught them to respect the earth and the old songs. The locals called them, the couple of the canyon. Some whispered that when storms swept through, you could still hear her voice echoing off the cliffs. "Don't kill him," not as a cry of fear, but as a prayer for all who carried hate in their hearts. When Daniel grew old, he often sat at the edge of the canyon, watching the sunrise. Beside him, Naya's hand always found his. He would look into her eyes, still bright as turquoise, and whisper, "You saved more than my life that day. You saved my soul." And she would smile, her voice soft like the wind. "No, my husband, we saved each other." One winter night, after many peaceful years, Daniel passed away quietly in his sleep, his hand still holding hers. The villagers buried him near the canyon he once feared, under a sky wide and endless. At dawn, as they laid him to rest, a sudden gust swept through the cliffs, a voice, faint but clear, echoing across the stone. Some swore they heard her crying once more, the same words that had changed everything, "He's my husband." But this time, it was not a plea for mercy. It was a song of love, of unity, of forgiveness, of two worlds that found peace through a single act of courage. And long after both their names faded into legend, the canyon still remembered. When the wind howled just right, travelers said it carried her voice, soft and eternal, whispering through the stones, "Love is stronger than war. Mercy is stronger than fear." And beneath that endless desert sky, their story lived on, a story of an Apache girl whose cry once echoed through the canyon and healed the hearts of a people.